Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. We got another powerful show today. So you guys know how we do it. Before we start the show, we always got to come correct with the with our intro. Here we go.
You are now tuned in to Real Truth and Power, the show that uplifts the community with health, wealth, and knowledge of self. Here's your host, Everett Winchester.
All right, man. Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to the Real Truth and Power podcast, where we provide health, wealth, and knowledge of self to uplift the black community. Of course, you guys know I'm a member of the Universal Negro Improvement Association African Communities League, and I got to bring on a heavy hitter, 19-year member, former Minister of Education, District 2 Commission. I'm going to let him introduce himself, and I'm going to bring on my guest today, Brother Kabir.
Race first, my brother. Race first.
Race first.
Before we
thank you.
Go ahead.
I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to the people, brother.
Oh man, always. You know how it is. It's much love when we're uniting our people. First, introduce yourself to the people. You can do it better than me. Give them a little bit about your background, because you, like Brother Line Blind, you're a great historian for our organization. So introduce yourself before we get it in.
I appreciate that, man. Yes, my name is Khabyr Hadas. I am a black man in the struggle for liberation and salvation and redemption of Mother Africa and her scattered black children all around the diaspora. I've dedicated my life to the redemption of Mother Africa. And one way that I found that I could be more effective was to join the UNIA-ACL. Once I joined the UNIA-ACL, it was a more macro view of us as a people being a one people. Mr. Garvey has always been in my sights, but it wasn't until 19 years ago when I joined Division 121 that I really felt the impact of the UNIA and ACL. So I've taken all my God-given abilities, talents, skills, with the help of the Almighty Creator and the ancestors, of course, and they are providing me with the energy and the wisdom and the courage to help in the struggle for us to have a warmer sun.
Ashe. I'm going to a little bit about Marcus Garvey. The reason I want you to go into that is so many different Pan-African organizations, much respect to them. But sometimes they don't give kudos to Marcus Garvey and the UNIA. Talk about Marcus Garvey, the origins of that flag, and the power of the UNIA, which separates the UNIA from a lot of other Pan-African organizations.
Yes, sir. Before I do that, I want to give a statement by the Honorable William Sherrill, our third President General, in dealing with the UNIA. He said that let us have no doubt and fears for the ultimate success of the UNIA. Men and women may betray their trust. Members may grow weak. Enemies may scatter us. We may suffer temporary defeats, which call for readjustments. But there can be no failure. There can be no failure. So I feel our ancestor when he said that, and it was something that I read today, good brother, that no generation gap will with black people who believe in the principles of Garveyism, there should be no generation gap. When you believe in the principles of Garveyism, no generation gap. That's an excuse. Mm-hmm. Mr. Garvey was a bright young little brother in Jamaica, and he was well read. His father had an enormous library. He had great parents, and he decided in himself that things were not right. As he became a young man and started to travel, he saw that the black man and the black woman were at the bottom of every level. So he asked himself, Brother Everett, where's the black man's government?
That's right.
Where's the kings? Where's the queens? Where's our high women and men of affairs? He couldn't find them as he traveled. So he decided to help make them. And that's where we are today in reference to Mr. Marcus Garvey in the UNIA-ACL 1914 in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica. Him and his wife, Amy Ashwood Garvey, started this movement. And here we are, still pushing forward, brother. Still pushing forward.
That's right. That's right. I love that comment you did by the former PG as well. I wasn't even aware of that one. So you educate me. And that's why I love speaking to you guys, because, you know, you educate me every time you drop gems and you may not even know it. But that was powerful. That was powerful right there.
It is very powerful, man. And it's so relevant today because, as you know, there's a lot of splinters. There's a lot of separation. I have an old copy of A Garvey's Voice, and our President General Thomas W. Harvey said, this organization is our greatest danger. This organization is our greatest danger. And that's where we are. That's where we are right now. So I would like to take a few minutes to talk about national and international realignment of the UNIA, connecting to Africa towards a stronger, united UNIA. Resuscitation is what we need to work towards. Reclamation and restoration. Those are the three things. And Brother Everett, a lot of Africans don't know that they're ordinary members. Every black person of ancestry is a UNIA member. They're not aware of that. But then you have, of course, brothers like ourselves that are dues paying and active members. But Mr. Garvey had a world view of all black people. That's the difference between him and other movements, black nationalist movements. He fought for the rights of all black people worldwide. And that's the greatest good for the greatest number of black people. That's the African principle. That's what we need to be doing. One people, one people, one people, one God, one aim, one destiny. So I want to clear up a few things, if I may. As far as the legitimacy or the authenticity of who the real UNIA is, we follow that divine line of membership, you and I. You have three things that will always stand up against the devil. The white man, in my perspective, beloved, is the devil. I want to get that straight, okay? The white man is the devil, to me. And even in the courts, you have convention journals, you have Garvey's Voices, and you have your convention minutes, your HEC and convention minutes. That is your line of authenticity. That is your line with the 11 president generals. The 11 president generals. There are 11 president generals, and you and I are in that divine line. They have it's always been, since Mr. Garvey was here, the brothers and sisters pivoting and splintering off to create another entity to preach their doctrine of race first ideology. But there's only one UNIA. There's only one UNIA. And that's the bottom line with that. So, brother, I would like to, if I can, speak to the brothers and sisters about what we need, what we have to have going across the board for international and national progress within the UNIA-ACL. First, the timeline. We have to have that timeline. I know you have it, but many divisions, many brothers and sisters that are trying to push forward don't have that timeline to study and speak about amongst their membership. You need a timeline. You also have to have archives. You must have archives. You must have the history of your division. You might start small, but there must be someone that has taken the time and the effort and the sacrifice to document what is going on in your division, what has transpired in your division. Here in Philadelphia, Asim Nkrumah, he was able to write down UNIA history from 1919 to 1987. He, God bless his soul, may he rest in power, transferred that information to myself. I am the archivist for Division 121, Thomas W. Harvey Memorial Division 121, currently.
Hey, Brother Kabir, you dropping
Yes,
gems, so I want you to say that brother's name again so everybody can get that name.
Asim Nkrumah.
There you go. That's right.
A 40-year member of UNIA-ACL, Sergeant of Arms, and one of my mentors. I sat at his feet, and he gave me that information, and I've been working on continuing that history of Division 121, which is a very, very powerful and enlightening and influential history. Fair elections. We must be fair amongst ourselves when we have elections for leadership within the UNIA. We must have fair elections. I want to talk about the Liberty Halls. We must have some place to meet. We can't make excuses. We have to have our own property to have our mass meetings. That's essential. That's essential. Of course, you have been working very hard with us. You've been coming down to Philadelphia, working on our international headquarters, brother, the restoration progress, and we really appreciate it. You come down with not a problem. We ask you to come, you come, and you work hard.
That's my duty, brother. That's the duty.
Hey, brother, we appreciate that, man. We appreciate that, brother. And, you know, that building, we've had that building since 1950. And outside of Canada, that's the only building right now that the UNIA-ACL owns.
That's right.
Right now. So it's imperative that we treat it as such, the African embassy, and build upon it. Malcolm X spoke in that building, brother.
That's right.
Malcolm X spoke in that building. There have been movements, there have been leaders that have come through that particular building, 1609, 1611, Cecil B. Moore Avenue. Dr. Yusuf bin Yakinen, Asa Hilliard, the Black Panther Party, their North Philadelphia offices started there. Republic of New Africa. The list goes on. The Million Man March, the Million Woman March. The list goes on about the black people, ASCAC met there, have met there. The black people that have come through those doors. Now we're asking them to come back and help us restore this beacon of light. You know how strong and how big that building is. It's not going to be sold or given to Temple University. So Temple University. I wanted to definitely give some acknowledgement to that. And you know, our big brother Marua Farrell is in charge of that restoration process. So hopefully I can give his information for those who are watching to see how they can help, if not muscle monetarily. Mm-hmm. I also want brothers and sisters to focus on the exoneration campaign. Yes, we exonerated Mr. Garvey, but the exoneration campaign is a learning tool. It's a learning tool to continue to push. Some brothers and sisters are scared of the red, black, and green. They're not coming nowhere near the red, black, and green. I see it every day. They're not. They ride past that red, black, and green flag as if it's a disease, and it's very sad. But when you have certain movements within the UNIA, they may come and help out and learn more about the UNIA. So the exoneration of Marcus Garvey, H-Con Resolution 57, is still in the books. We need to continually work on that in our divisions. We also had a non-governmental organizational status with the United Nations. We have to continue to start thinking bigger than just the community. Mr. Garvey gave us a global perspective of the UNIA-ACL. So it is imperative that the leaders in all our divisions around, brother, particularly here in the United States, focus on and get information, which I have, on the non-governmental status of the UNIA as it relates to the United Nations. Mr. Thomas W. Harvey was very, very instrumental in providing that entity for us. Land base, Liberia, Belize, Liberia, Belize. We must have a land base. Black colonies must be created all around the globe. I had the privilege to go to Liberia in 2019 with the UNIA-ACL. They welcomed us with open arms, and that particular communication is stronger than ever now. As you know, brother, Liberia was the target where Mr. Garvey wanted to create that black empire. That's not off the table. That's not off the table. We must continue to work hard and look at what Mr. Garvey put down and continue to work on those levels, or work on that communication or those connections or that bridge. We stayed with George Weah, the president of Liberia, and those connections are there. And you know the history of the betrayal that happened, that took place with W.E.B. Du Bois going over there and undercutting Mr. Garvey and bringing in the U.S. government to seize that deal for those 1,000,000 acres, which now is owned by Firestone. Belize, that's another entity that our divisions must continually work on. Our President General Redmond Battle took a delegation to Belize. The land is still there, brother. Sir Isaiah Morter willed that estate to us. The land is there. We just need the manpower, the woman power, and of course, the funds, the organizational power to continue that trip, or continue that level of searching for sovereignty or space, so to speak, so we can do what we will with what we know. I want to speak about a few more programs that our division should have. Your prisoner support program, every division should have a prisoner support program. We are tied to black men and women in prison. Mr. Garvey was a political prisoner, one of the first political prisoners. Mr. Garvey, the FBI was built on Mr. Garvey, as you know. So there is over 800,000 black men and women coming home every year. There's something that we can do as a organization to help black men and women who are coming home from the belly of the beast. It's imperative. We have a program here, Division 121, called the Basic Needs Program. And all we do is ask brothers and sisters that are fortunate to donate items, shoes, suits, coats, the items that brothers and sisters may need when they first get home. And it's working. It's needed. It's working. There are small things that we can do as divisions to continually connect with our brothers and sisters. Study groups. We must dig deeper into study groups. Study groups are the foundation of divisions. Study groups are, again, the foundation of the development of divisions. Once you have 7 brothers and sisters on the same page with Garveyism, then the work begins. So those study groups, once a week, once a month, they are imperative. Philosophies and Opinions 1 and 2, Race First, Garvey and Garveyism are my favorite 3 books to use. But you also have the Garvey Papers by Robert Hill, if you want to dig deeper. We have a lot of intellectuals, brother.
That's
but
right.
We have to put that ideology into practice. And one way to do that is to have our study groups. We must continually study. We have to continually study. We have to. It's a matter of life and death. We have to. Propaganda. You're helping us, brother, with your know-how, with your intelligence. You're helping our division, But our divisions must have at least a one-page newsletter. A one-page newsletter. We got Facebook. We have all these things now. It could be done digitally, but propaganda, Marcus Garvey's Negro World and the Garvey's Voice were imperative, were monumental in getting the word out, were monumental in building membership, were monumental in letting the common man, the common woman, the common child learn about the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Mosiah Garvey and the work, the good work that was being done around the world. So we cannot make excuses anymore. We have to stop sleepwalking. We have to.
That's
we
right.
must create a organ to let brothers and sisters know what we are doing, what we are trying to do, and to solicit the help of those in our community. So propaganda is very important. I also want to talk about the fundamental ideology that is needed, the fundamental ideology that must be studied, the fundamental ideology, Brother Everett, that must be studied and embraced by all divisions. The preamble must be embraced by all the divisions. Universal Negro Improvement Association, African Communities League is a social, friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, institutional, constructive, and expansive society that's
right.
founded by brothers and sisters with desiring to the utmost to help in the general uplift of Black people. That's the preamble. The 8-point program. We need to encompass that in all our studies. The 8-point program. 1, to champion Black nationhood by redemption of Mother Africa. 2, to make the Black race conscious. These are fundamental ideological basic concepts that we need to work on. 3, to breathe ideas of manhood and womanhood in every Black person. 4, to advocate self-determination, that Kuji-Jakalia. 5, to print all the news that will be interesting and instructive to the Black race. 6, to make the African world conscious. 7, to instill racial self-help. And 8, to advocate, inspire racial love and self-respect. These are fundamentals that I teach my children during the school year. These are fundamentals that can be absorbed by 5th, 6th, 7th graders. If they're not that deep. If we do one thing, even wrong, it would shift everything.
That's
one
right.
thing in unison, Baba, one thing. So with the Nguzu Saba that we just finished up, my students, we use the Nguzu Saba every day. It's only logical. 7 days of the week, 7 principles. So every Monday, my students greet me and they know Baba Kabir will be talking about unity. Tuesday, Kuji-Jakalia, and so on. This gives them a fundamental paradigm to stay focused throughout their day. And they take it home to their parents and their siblings. But it's only fundamental ideological practice to have 7 principles and 7 days of the week. The last one being Imani, faith, that would be Sunday. And you can deal with that under any religious umbrella. If you're Muslim, Christian, you practice Judaism, faith in God. The Declaration of Rights of Negro Peoples of the World. Brother Everett, that document is one of the most profound and most powerful documents I have ever read. I am 58 years old, and I am a student of history. The more I find out about Black people, I realize that we don't know. But that document, needs to be talked about, Brother Everett. It's not embraced. That's our Declaration of Independence, brother.
I'm glad you said that, Brother Kabir, because a lot of people don't know about that, the Declaration of Rights. They think they know about the flag, but I want you to go in on it. It was introduced with the flag. And a lot of people don't know the importance of it and the history of the flag. They go hand in hand.
Hand in hand. hand in hand, 1920, right there in the Madison Square Garden, 25,000 Africans gave us that preamble, gave us the flag, gave us the Constitution. The Constitution. We study it, but we have not embraced it collectively as a people yet, not even as UNIA-ACL members. This document is what we forge or what we navigate throughout the world, through world politics. Like the students have to study the Declaration of Independence on a European level.
And it's correct me if I'm wrong, 12 complaints, 54 declarations, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they cover everything, Baba. They cover from reparations to self-defense. And when we are strong and united, this declaration goes out to other governments. This declaration was created by black people all around the world, not just Mr. Garvey and the UNIA members in New York. So it holds precedent over all black people. And it's something that needs to be talked about. It's something that needs to be studied on a daily basis if we are to get away or if we are to grow internationally once again. This document here, the Declaration of Rights of Negro Peoples of the World. The Constitution. Now, the Declaration of Rights of Negro Peoples of the World, brother, that's what we want, what we believe, and what we declare. The Constitution is what we will use to get what we want. That's the Constitution. That's the living and breathing document that we must encompass, that I don't think that we hold truth to it yet as a government, as far as I'm concerned, but we're getting there. We will get there. Policies, positions, papers. Every division should have a policy position paper. It pretty much puts all of us on the same page of what we think about reparations, what we think about fratricide, black on black crime, what we think about homosexuality, which is we're not going for that. So this paper, your programs or your policies paper, we have to work on. Every division should have a policies paper, and we all should say the same thing. What's your stance on this, sister? What's your stance on that, good brother? When that is done collectively by divisions, we are stronger. Reparations, repatriation, incarceration of black youth, drugs and the problem of drug addiction, unemployment. These are things that are happening today, every day in our community that the UNIA must take a lead on. Black on black crime, the black family crisis, education, homelessness. There are 20 topics that are in the policies positions paper that we let go. I'm not sure what year. The documents I have, good brother, are from 92 and 93 convention. But it's very important that we bring those documents back up to surface and go over them. Leaders such as yourself, presidents of divisions such as yourself, go over these position papers and present them not only at the HEC, not only at the convention, but as we are communicating with one another every week. This is very important if we are to move forward as an organization in 2023. The last few things that I want to share with the brothers and sisters is your rituals and convention hymns. We have to get back to tradition. We must get back to the tradition. How to properly open up mass meetings. I've served under 4 president generals. 4. When I came into the UNIA in 2004, President General Baba Battles was at the helm. Baba Battles made his transition with the ancestors, but I had 5, 6 years to sit at his feet and learn how to open meetings properly and learn some of the hymns and some of the rituals that were passed down to our ancestors. The fact that I am turning the corner on 60, I have to pass that off to the younger Garveyites. I have to. So after President Baba made his transition, we had Mwalimu G, a strong brother, was the President General, only for 1 year. Mwalimu G, out of Detroit, good brother. He lost the election to Senghor Baye, and Senghor Baye was the President General for 8 years. Now we're under the leadership of Michael Duncan. But that's very important to know the traditions of the divisions and the traditions of the President Generals. I am very, brother, I'm very, very, I target Africans in the UNIA that have, that knew someone or were taught by someone that was taught by Mr. Garvey. Very important, very, very important. We have brothers and sisters in the UNIA today that are in their 70s and 80s that were taught by President Generals, living today. So
Shaka
we
Barak,
have to.
I think he was
What's that,
taught.
brother?
Shaka Barak, he was taught by Charles L. James,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So I always
yes,
hit him up for some stuff like that, and he's like,
yes,
he's real open to teach too. Yeah.
yes, brother, and Mama Pharrell.
Yes,
You
Mama
know,
Farah.
brother Gooseby,
Mm-hmm.
brother Gooseby. There are Baba Sababu Nkrumah, Sewa Nkrumah, taught by Thomas W. Harvey, who was we know who was a student of Mr. Garvey at the School of African Philosophy. So that line is difficult, but you got to get with these Africans that have that line, that straight line to Mr. Garvey. Very, very important. Very important. The UNIA pledge to the flag is very strong. When that's said in unison, you feel the ancestors. You feel Mr. Garvey. You feel Amy Jacques Garvey. You feel Amy Ashwood Garvey when that is said. These documents right here, brother, the petition to the League of Nations, we must have studying around that and build our cadre, build our coffers, build our membership back to be able to address this once again. The petition to the League of Nations and the second petition to the League of Nations or the United Nations is in this powerful book here. The more philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey, Marcus Garvey, Volume 3. It's very important that
Now, you know, a lot of
black
people
men.
don't know about that book. A lot of people don't know about Volume 3. That's a real good book.
It is, brother, and it has the actual petitions. Now, to be in that position, to have 5, 6, 7 million Africans saying that we have the numbers, we have the money, we have the resources to literally go to Africa and set up colonies, move the white man, move the devil out of certain areas in Africa, and we will sustain it. That's what these petitions are about, how we can heal our own people. And they were given, they were accepted, not by Persia. The Africans from Persia were able to get our petition and present it to the United Nations or the League of Nations. Don't sleep on Persia. Yeah, it might be, well, it is offset now, but at one point in time, like all those nations in that time period, they had an allegiance to black people. They had an allegiance to Mr. Garvey. They had an allegiance to Pan-African nationalism. Memorandum, uh, correlative of Africa, West Indies, and the Americas sent to the representatives of the United Nations. Saint, brother, she's a saint. Amy Jacques Garvey and Amy Ashwood Garvey, they are saints, brother. They are. We have to give our sisters that position. They are saints. This book, this powerful little book, again, it's a memorandum by Amy Jacques Garvey that talks about economic use of raw materials by the white man, British West Africa, post-war reconstruction of colonies, conditions of African countries. Again, international solutions given to us by the First Lady. These are the documents. These are the papers that the youth will be attracted to. These are the documents that many people aren't aware of that were created by UNIA for black people all around the world. And there's another powerful book I want to share, brother. It's called Black Power in America. Marcus Garvey's impact on Jamaica and Africa and the power of the human spirit by Saint Amy Jacques Garvey. These documents that you're allowing me to share must be embraced. You must have them on your desk, which you probably do as the president of divisions. Those few documents that I talked about, those analogies that I talked about, are the fruit of what is needed. We must learn the history of these 11 men, starting with Marcus Garvey. I don't care if you like their policies or not. I don't care if you're in favor of their policies or not. This is history. We must know about the leaders that have been elected and make sure and hold them accountable to the philosophies and the opinions, the rules, regulations, and aspirations of Mr. Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Thank you for this time, brother. I appreciate that, man. I wanted to get that out. And I hope it helps Africans, not only members of the UNIA, but members of other Pan-African nationalist organizations. And I hope I wasn't moving too fast, but I get excited when I'm talking about black people. I love black people, brother, just like you. You know, it's the future of black people, why I don't sleep at night.
That's
And
right.
it is what it is. It's where we at, man. And I appreciate everything that you're doing. Your work and your inspiration really inspires a brother like me. I pulled up an old DVD that we had that I got to get to you. Eddie Conway. You familiar with Eddie
A
Conway?
little bit, yeah.
He was the keynote speaker at our HEC right after getting out of prison. And he was a Black Panther, as you know, from Baltimore that was railroaded by the white man. And he found it necessary to come to Philadelphia and to speak to the HEC. And I thought about Mr. Eddie Conway when I'm looking at the work that you're doing, the work that your division is doing, and hopefully we can contact him again, because being in the belly of the beast for over 40 years and having them not break you is a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level. I was railroaded and set up by the Philadelphia police here in Philadelphia in 1996. I was in a cage the size of a bathroom for 5 years. That did not break me. It only gave me solace, and it only helped me to find out or see firsthand how evil this white man is. Even though my case was, a new trial was ordered But by that time, I had 5 years in. But that gave me time to write more books. Oneness of the Blacks, African Struggle Inherited. It gave me time to help black men that were in prison, working in the law library, helping brothers to win their appeal, helping brothers to read a letter for the first time by their granddaughter. So I had purpose, but brothers like Eddie Conway, 40 years, 40 plus years, and not being broken, and to come to the UNIA to speak. We have that dialogue on video. I would love for you to share it with your division, brother.
Yes, you got to get me that, man. You definitely got to get that to me. And, I'm glad you reached out because, we just did an event with DC. We went up to them. We got to start communicating and working together more as divisions, it just makes us stronger. Start sharing each other's work that we're doing. And I'm real excited about what's happening in Philly. Glad that you back involved. I talked to Sister Basima a lot. And, we just want to make sure everybody knows that, we're still here. We're still stronger than ever. And the energy's real good right now. Despite, a lot when I came in, it was a little crazy. But, the energy is real good. We're real strong right now. And it's glad to see brothers like you back in the fray, because we need you. We need you a lot.
It's brothers like you that give me inspiration because the fray is so wide. Like you could step away, but you can't get away from the fray. There's so many Africans that need help in a city like Philadelphia. So when the leadership isn't up to par to where you think it should be, and you step back to look at a macro view, take a breath, there's still work to be done. There's plenty of work to be done. So the time periods where it's a long distance run. It's not a sprint. So when Brother Everett gets a little beaten down a little bit, somebody has to step in and help Brother Everett so he can recuperate and continue the fight. And that's all we need. That's all we have to do. But from the cradle to the grave, brother, from the cradle to the grave, man, God bless those who struggle. God bless those who struggle. Asada Shakur always says that, and that's the way it is, man. That's the way it is, brother.
Well, I appreciate you. I want you to do me one favor, and I know you got a lot of quotes and stuff, but just leave the people with something, that you just want to leave them with, that just mess their minds up and have them thinking, have them encouraged, uplift them a little bit.
I'll leave the people with one God, one aim, one destiny. Race first, Black power.
I appreciate you, my brother. We're going to talk soon. I'm going to get you back on soon, too.
I'm looking forward to it, brother.
I got you covered.
I want to talk about my books.
Yeah, Nate, drop that real quick now, though. A couple of your books so people can know.
All right. Oneness of the Blacks. Oneness of the Blacks. This book is about Garveyism. This book is about black people coming into an enlightenment and fighting against oppression, fighting against white supremacy. It's very important that brothers like ourselves write about Garveyism and the UNIA because we're in the organization. Mm-hmm. There are so many brothers and sisters that are writing about Mr. Garvey, that are writing about Garveyism, but they aren't dues paying members. So it's important. We're right here. We're right in the fray of it, right in the whirlwind. So this book here is very important to me because it shows what we have been doing here in Philadelphia, what I have been doing, and what I have been inspired to do, and who inspired me, who taught me, who gave me those rules and regulations and guidelines to follow. So this book here, Oneness of the Black, and then I have very quickly Black Power and the Destruction of White Supremacy in the Land Called America. It's reprinted again. This book was written back in 1995. I have Economic Slavery in the Black Community, Identify, Face, and Destroy, and African Struggle Inherited. I don't have a copy of that here, but African Struggle Inherited is another book that the Creator has blessed me with and used me as a vessel to tell our story in the best interest of us. And lastly, brother, the Red, Black, and Green radio show. I have a weekly radio show called the Red, Black, and Green, Restoring Confidence and Self-Reliance. If you log on to utiradio.airtime.pro on Mondays at 8 a.m., you will hear me live. And I also have been blessed by the Creator and the ancestors to write a weekly column in Scoop USA Media Newspaper. Scoop USA Media Newspaper, a Black-owned and operated newspaper right here in Philadelphia. The Red, Black, and Green, Khabyr Hadas. Thank you for that time, brother.
Anytime, my brother. Thank you. And again, race first. I'll be talking to you soon.
Yes, sir. Race first.
Wow, what I tell you, man, another powerful interview. We're going to definitely get that brother back. And I want to have a panel now, you know, so we can just start discussing some important topics. And I want to definitely have Brother Kabir back and Brother Line as well. I told you, those UNIA brothers, they come with intelligence and they come raw. And I want you to pay attention to the background. He had a library. Marcus Garvey teaches us to get books and create our own library. So it's very important. Lock your books up, protect them, because it's valuable education that we need. Everything isn't on the internet. We have to read. You know, you have to get that source, burn that midnight oil. It's very important. So on that note, man, another powerful interview. I want to thank that brother. He blessed us with some powerful knowledge. If you're interested in donating to the international headquarters, you know, one of the historic buildings in the UNIA, hit me up. And definitely if you're interested in joining the UNIA, especially our Philly division, they're really growing and they really regrouping right now. And I'm proud of those brothers and sisters. Definitely hit me up with that. And of course, you know how it is. We're out of here. And again, thank you again for another powerful show and tuning in. Stay blessed. One love.
Real truth and power, health, wealth, knowledge of self, uplifting the community. Let's talk about it. Real truth and power, health, wealth, knowledge of self, uplifting the community. Let's talk about it.